Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of Shoes Off Inside. It's been a little while, but we're all back. Kelly Hu, Tamla Jamita. I was saying before we started recording, we kind of unintentionally took this summer break. We weren't really planning on it, but it kind of just happened that way.
And today is a junk day here in LA. It's so cloudy and
I,
cloud covered. It's like, yeah, where's the sun? Where'd summer go?
I know exactly. So summer is over technically, right? But hey, ladies, it's good to see you. How's everyone doing?
So good. So tired. I'm tired.
I wonder why you're tired, Kelly Hu. It's like, what time and what day, how many days after Burning Man did you come home? And I know that's probably your element, just living in nature. And oh my God.
But still.
Mud.
I know.
Mud.
Okay, let's talk about, okay, for those people who don't know,
Yes,
of course,
yes.
Burning Man is annual event, where people go there for, what is it, 9 days, 10 days-ish?
Really, a Saturday night at 12 o'clock. So really Saturday night, Sunday morning at midnight, the gates open.
Okay.
And people can enter, and then the man burns the following Saturday night.
Okay.
The closing, right?
The temple burns. Yeah.
And then the temple burns on Sunday night. So a lot of people leave after the man burns.
Right.
And the temple burns after that. And it's a whole other experience. Like man burn is like people partying and like, fire dancing and what's really cool is I saw the Hawaii Fire Conclave. They performed, and because of the rain, the burn got delayed. The usual like festivities around the Burning Man itself on Saturday night got canceled because usually there's like all these fire dancers performing and stuff beforehand, and that all got canceled. And so the Hawaii Fire Conclave, who were like, performing, dedicating their performance to Lahaina and, everything, and Maui in general, they were not able to perform for the mass audience at the fire burn. But they did like a side performance, and I just happened to be passing by, and I was like, wow, these guys are really good. And then somebody came walking by with a giant Hawaii flag upside down, and I was like, wait, that's the Hawaiian flag.
Oh.
Somebody turned to me, goes, yeah, this is the Hawaii Fire Conclave. And I was like, oh my God.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. What a nice coincidence.
Meant to be.
It was meant to be
for you to be there
exactly.
at that moment in
but
time.
let's talk about the fact that, it turned into a huge news story because of those like historic rains. That's unusual for that area, right? To have that much rain. And then you guys all got stuck.
Well,
it was a year's worth of rain. If I want to year's worth of rain in 2 days. Right. So for everybody to know, and it's in the middle of the Nevada desert.
So Burning Man is based on 10 principles, and one of the principles is being self-sufficient.
Yes.
You have to bring in everything that you are going to consume and take out absolutely everything as well. All your trash. You're not allowed to even pee on the desert floor.
On the desert floor,
Yeah, because that is considered matter out of place, or what they call moop. And so anyway, we were laughing at the news feed that we were seeing because they were acting as though we were all trapped there and people were running out of food.
And children are experiencing the end of the world, and it's not fire. It's rain. Yeah, it's water.
The most resilient people you are ever going to meet. I mean, they are crazy, and like the crazier it gets, the more they celebrate. Right. When there are dust storms, there are people who go dancing in the storm. They go look for like these dust, these little like tornadoes, like these little dust tornadoes, and they'll go chasing after it sometimes and like dance in it so they can get all dusty, and like sometimes without masks or anything. I mean, some of them are just nuts, right? I'm not like that. I'm not that crazy. But this rain was very uncomfortable because what it did was it it made it so that the ground was so muddy that you really couldn't walk around.
Right.
And all the clay would stick to your shoes.
Clay,
and so you'd be walking around like 20-pound,
cement blocks. Yeah.
I mean, it would just build up. But people were mud wrestling. They were dancing in the mud. They were building sculptures of like penises and like a finger. And like, I mean, burners are hilarious.
Yeah.
Hilarious. I mean, nothing stops them from enjoying and partying. I mean, there were some people that were maybe in a panic, but that's probably because they didn't come prepared.
Yeah.
And it was early enough in the week that people should have had everything they needed.
Yeah.
But people did have to like miss their flights, because people fly in from all over the world, right? And so there were people who missed their flights. There were a lot of people who tried to sneak out when they said, oh, don't leave because it's too muddy. And they didn't listen and their cars got stuck in the mud.
We saw the stories of like Chris Rock and some other singer, I don't remember his name. They like walked and then hitchhiked and got out.
Right?
Yes, Diplo.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So people
Apparently
did escape.
They got airlifted out or something, or
Oh, wow.
Able to get out. But we watched tons of like campers or cars trying to move, and we're like, dude, people were getting stuck right in the middle of the intersections, and I mean, there are always going to be, especially amongst the Burning Man crowd, because there are a lot of rich people who go to Burning Man, and I think a lot of these people are like they're so entitled, and a lot of them think that they are the exception to the rule. So even if people say the word is do not move your vehicles, you are going to get stuck. They think that they can still get through it, and people
of course
get stuck left and right.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. Yeah.
We were laughing, thinking that, everything was being so exaggerated. Yes, it was uncomfortable. And yes, it was cold. And yes, it was wet and muddy, but you make the best of it,
Well, here's the thing, you guys. I mean, from a news perspective, given the fact that this is my industry, absolutely, news tends to inflate and over exaggerate situations when for people who are actually there, they're like, it's not that bad.
It's not that bad. Yeah.
So the headlines, were very dramatic, right? That's why even I was like, okay, my friends are there. Are they okay? So, I was trying to text you.
I didn't have Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
Like I purposely didn't have Wi-Fi, but there are a lot of people who had Starlink, and they were sharing their Starlink. And then if you didn't have access to Starlink, you could go to like the center. Yeah. But you would have to like trudge through the mud,
and just say, "I'm okay, mom. I'm okay, mom. I'm good, mom." Yeah.
I was so worried.
Oh, I bet. I know. I mean, of course you would be. Well, we're glad that you're okay, Kelly, and you had a wonderful time. Would you go? Will you go back?
3:00. Yeah, of course. How many times have you been to Burning Man?
That was only my third time. My first time was in 2019, and I was so excited to go back in 2020, but of course, it didn't start up again until 2022. People who are burners are lifetime.
It's like, what it is? It's like going to Mecca, like going to Mecca or something. It's like they
it really is.
Yeah, it really is. It's like spiritual for so many people, but very cool, very cool. So, and then you went before Burning Man, you were traveling in Europe and stuff. I know that. So, you've had a quite an active summer. Quite an active summer.
What I did for summer vacation.
I know. It's just like I didn't go anywhere for the summer.
By Kelly Luu.
Shit, I didn't do anything.
Had no downtime. Like after I wrapped the show, because we wrapped, and then I had like maybe a week or a week and a half, I was gone to Europe.
Yeah.
I bought a one-way ticket. I was
right. That's right. That's right. Yeah.
All I know is I want to be back for Burning Man. And I came back. I cleared out my guest room because my friend moved in with me and is living in my guest room now. And I was, I packed up for Burning Man, and I came back. And I started packing to move to Vegas.
I mean, talk about doing everything at the same time, Kelly.
Yeah,
Crikey.
I know. I'm like taking advantage of this time off and just doing like the craziest things. I'm doing everything you're not supposed to do when you're on strike. Like I'm like, because I should be like, like hoarding my money and being very careful, but I'm, going to Europe and Burning Man and buying a house in Vegas.
Yeah. And huge congratulations on that. We just learned that before we started recording. Yay!
Yes.
I mean, we knew that you were talking about moving to Vegas because your parents are there.
Proximity to your mom,
And it's also just like cheaper. I mean, shit. I'm not going to say, but Kelly shared the house that she just purchased and it's still like in inspection phase. But the price of that was
for
just
less than what I'm paying for my condo. No. I'm getting a 4-bedroom mansion.
Like it's ridiculous. It's like my jaw hit the ground when I saw the house and the price. I'm like, wait, that's the price? So it's God. Yeah. And you said, why do people live in LA when you realize the cost of living is so ridiculously high here, and taxes and all that good stuff. But no, huge congratulations. Party at Kelly's. Party at Kelly's.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. We're going to be doing a podcast from Vegas for
for sure. We absolutely.
That would be so fun.
Yes, for sure.
So fun, how long have you guys been living in LA?
I'm from LA.
37 years.
Yes.
I mean, for me, only it's been 12 years now.
12 years. Mm-hmm. Oh, coming from Ohio, straight from Ohio, right?
No, girl, what are you talking about? Ohio, then San Francisco, then Tokyo, then New York, Hong Kong, then New York, then LA for 1 year, then back to Singapore, and then back to LA.
Yeah. Listen to me, straight from Ohio.
I know. Like, what are you talking about? I haven't lived in Ohio since I was 15.
Oh my God. Yeah. Have you been in LA?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, no, I'm a Valley girl. I'm an original Valley girl.
Oh, so your entire life.
My entire life. Yeah, I've never left. Yeah.
Not even, of course, you've never lived anywhere else?
No, not except for work. Nope.
Right.
Nope. Extended period of time, always for work. So yeah, it's always, And I'm not an LA girl. I'm a Valley girl.
Yeah, true.
I'm a Valley girl.
Yeah.
I mean, totally like, oh my God. That whole thing.
Like that when you were young?
I think we all did. I think we all did. And until that, what is it? Nicolas Cage movie, right?
Valley girl.
Like, it was cemented. It was like, oh my God, we don't sound like that at all. I'm like, but I think we all did. Because that was just the way that I think just American kids just talk. But
did you hang out at the mall?
You know what? My brother used to work as a security guard at that mall, at the Sherman Oaks Galleria. During, if I remember, I think it was during. And if my memory serves me correct, they shot after hours, of course.
Speaking of, content and film and all this stuff, I mean, we gotta kind of talk about this ongoing strike. Look, this is not my industry. However, I will say one thing. My fiance is in the biz, right?
Yes.
He's on the rigging side of production, and he hasn't worked since May.
Yeah.
And it's bad. I mean, look, thank God he is, very, very sort of organized and, has some, savings and things like that. So he's been okay. But this is just, I mean, what the hell, guys? I mean, when is this going to end? And it's it's getting ugly.
The studios are really intent to starve everybody out.
And they are.
And it's coming from the bottom. It's the ones who really rely on these shows to go on. I mean, Kelly, I'm sure you've heard too. It's like, I don't think it's going to be resolved until the new year.
Yeah, that's
last I heard from my manager is that they are still far apart in their agreements.
And it's not just the writers, actors versus the studios. It's the studios. It's all the brotherhood of those studios saying, well, we want this and we should do that. So there's internal fighting on one side. So
I heard,
and whether or not they can come to agreement to ramp up production is going to take us through October, and then boom, Thanksgiving and New Year's.
Yeah,
Christmas. It's like,
but
why?
It's going to be a really sad Christmas for.
I know.
Yeah. So I heard that it's the studios that are split the traditional, legacy studios are on one end, and they're actually, from what I hear, they actually want to resolve this, and they have had some proposals. It's the streamers like Netflix and Amazon, because they don't rely on income in the traditional sense. So they can last much longer and make much,
Right.
be much tighter about things. So in
Yeah.
that world, that's the split. I think these guys are they're flush with cash. They don't have to give
Yeah.
in, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
until that happens, yeah, I mean the sad thing is a lot of people are suffering. I'm hearing a lot of people selling their homes, just saying I can't do this, I can't afford it, and so they are bleeding out. People are bleeding
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
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 I
And
mean,
I'll say it right now. Fuck Barrymore.
ah,
Fuck Bill Maher
okay. Good.
for
I'm
putting
glad
on
you
their
brought
talk
that up.
shows
I'm
because I'm
glad you
sorry,
so what do you
they're
okay.
scabs. They're
Okay.
scabs.
So that's how
This
you
is
feel.
not unity.
I can see Bill doing this, but Drew, she's an actress. She comes from a family of actors. Like, I don't understand how she could scab like that.
I'm so angry. I don't need to understand. She has no heart and no sympathy for her fellow sister, brother, artists. It's the bottom
Okay,
line.
so let me
Yeah.
let me play devil's advocate for a second, because I definitely wanted to talk about this with the whole Bill Maher and Drew Barrymore thing. So Bill Maher wrote this long thing on X about why he's doing this. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but he said, real time is coming back. Unfortunately, sans writers are writing. It has been 5 months, and it's time to bring people back to work. The writers have important issues that I sympathize with and hope they are addressed to their satisfaction, but they are not the only people with issues, problems, and concerns. Despite some assistance from me, much of the staff is struggling mightily. Hoping that it would be resolved by Labor Day. I love my writers. I'm one of them, but I'm not prepared to lose an entire year and see so many below the line people suffer so much. That's how he's justifying this, saying, yes, he supports what's happening with the writers and the strike, but there's so many other people that are being hurt, pretty badly, right? Like I said, like my fiance is one of them. All
Mhm.
the other ancillary, businesses, things like that. So here's my question to you both. I mean, do we can we have some sort of understanding that, like, what is the compromise, because there's so many other people who are not involved in the strike who are being directly impacted. So Bill Maher bringing the show back, is that it is a bad thing because of scab, but at the same time, he's saying these are all these other people that are totally suffering,
Yeah.
right?
I understand that. I understand that. And he's got that responsibility, right, on his shoulders, just like Drew.
Yeah.
But
It's tough.
it,
No,
it's tough. It's tough to because if this starts happening,
yeah.
and we are not standing together, we are losing footing
Yeah.
in this.
Right.
I mean, I don't. It's so obvious. I don't have to say it.
Yeah, and yeah, thank you. That's exactly, because I admire his intentionality behind that letter, but he's only caring about his own family of people, so he should take care of his family of people. He's rolling. I mean, come on, Bill Maher is rolling.
He's not suffering. Yeah,
and he's not suffering. I'm sorry. Until he suffers, it's like, take care of your own family. Otherwise, other families are going to take care of their own families as well. This is a unified effort. Bill Maher came up to this because of a body, a family, a long line of writers, of creators. So give back to the entire community. This is what Kelly means. It's like, we're all in this together. So stick together. And yeah, again, thank you for your hearts. Thank you for your intention, but your vision is short-sighted, and it's very I think it's selfish, because I think they just want to preserve their own shows for lack. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's just so demeaning.
And I'm so glad we're talking about this, because I think there is this sort of confusion as to, like, what's the best way forward. And now you're seeing these divisions. You're seeing people starting to, like,
And this
kind
is
of.
exactly what the networks want.
Yeah, exactly. No. Divide and conquer. Divide and conquer.
Exactly.
Right? So yeah, and it's starting to break down a little bit. We're seeing that. So hopefully,
God bless all the workers out there, because again, the announcement yesterday that the 3 big car
Yes.
Yeah, they're
Automakers are going on
it's on
strike.
strike authorization. Nurses are, again, but
Well,
yeah,
here's
time
the
to come to it.
moral of the story, and really, it is an economic, lesson, which is that the wage disparity between regular employees and executives never used to be like this. It used to be maybe
Mhm,
20%, 30% more that the
mhm.
executives earned compared to their employees. Now it's like fucking like 1,000 times more, I mean,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
that disparity is what's causing, these divisions and these issues because it's unfair. It's just
Yeah.
fucking unfair, right?
yeah.
So yeah. Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah.
okay.
My stepfather always said, when you have that much division between the rich and the poor, there's going to be revolution.
Of course.
Yes,
It has to happen.
Of
yeah.
course. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what's happening across the board,
Mhm.
So, but okay. Well, on to another topic that we totally need to address is, of course, what happened in Maui. It's been that long since we've actually had a show to talk about this, but yeah,
Yes, that's right. Thank you, Kelly, for hopping on. I mean, of course, immediately on Maui Fire Relief and all the organizations that everybody was saying, who should we donate to? And, you popped up, I think, within 2 minutes saying, my friends
I
over in Maui say, yeah.
And I was in Spain. I was actually in Barcelona when it happened
yeah.
with my cousin who has a property that is up for sale in Kihei. And he and I, we have Maui roots. I lived on Maui as a kid.
Mhm.
My mom is from Maui, both, his mom too, they're sisters. So I mean, immediately it hit us. Thank God his house is okay, because
Oh.
people don't understand, it wasn't just Lahaina. It was
Right,
also Kihei and Kula.
Mm-hmm.
right.
Our friend Branscombe Richmond lives in Kula and had
Yeah.
to evacuate. It's and crazy enough, I have like family roots in all three of those places. um it was it I think what happens in a time of disaster like that is people want to help, but there's so many of these people that are looking for disasters and ways to steal money, make money
Yeah.
off of the generosity of people who are like emotionally giving, right? That I felt like I had to find a reliable source right away. So I've been following this woman who is a reporter, a journalist from Maui, Malika Dudley, and I knew that she would be the person to vet and
Mm,
know all of these people personally, all of these organizations personally.
Mm-hmm.
So I just forwarded whatever it was that she was saying because I did not know of a more reliable source.
Yeah.
And here's the thing, it's not just people who lost their homes that are being affected, but it's anybody who works in tourism there or
Yeah,
in the
of
hotel
course.
industry there.
Right.
Because all of a sudden people were saying, don't come to Maui.
yeah.
And
That was confusing.
time period,
Yeah.
they were short on supplies and needed whatever was on the islands, just to be able to have these, the food,
Essentials. Yeah.
Yeah.
essentials, exactly. But now it's like go, 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 go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Support
But
Maui, go support the hotels
yeah, but
that
here's the thing. It's like people, when they again, it's the news. They
Uh-huh.
make it seem like the entire island is on fire, right?
Right.
And people who don't know, they think Maui's like, a tiny little speck or something, and it's all of Lahaina, and that's the entire island. So of course
Mhm.
people are going to be fearful about even going, even if they're
Mhm.
going to a totally different part of the island. So now, of course, the message is no, go, please
Yeah,
support,
Right.
yeah.
the tourism. You can go elsewhere on the island. There's plenty of other places to visit. So, but those were
Right.
confusing messages in the beginning, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure. For
Yeah.
And
sure.
the reason why there are confusing messages is because there is a lot of fighting amongst the different organizations.
Yeah.
Even not just the mainland organizations with the locals, but even with the locals themselves.
Yeah.
Mhm,
Everybody has their own agenda, and everybody wants to see, Lahaina control come back to whoever, they are. So it's not easy, and it's
It's
not a simple answer.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
very
Right.
confusing.
There's a
And
lot of
so,
history, and there's a lot of conflict in that history, and that comes up
Yes, exactly.
over and
We do
over
we want to
again.
do we
Yeah,
want to replicate the kind of colonialist histories that made Lahaina so special and so beautiful?
yeah,
But it's also listening. It's really, really trying to put into fact, put into action the words of the indigenous people. It's
yeah,
like that. It's like it is a yin yang kind of thing. Everything got destroyed, so let us rebuild with it with good intentionality
yeah,
and with respect to the Aina.
but
That's
everybody
it's a
has a different idea of what that means,
yeah,
right?
mm,
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
You
Trying to
know,
hear, trying to listen. It's like I don't need to say anything, but I
I
think
haven't
for
said anything because I don't know what the right answer is either.
yeah, yeah.
mm,
I
yeah,
think I think the organizations that Kelly mentioned, Maui Rapid Response immediately was great, and then I think for the little research that I was able to do and just hear the feedback, I think it's Hawaii Community Foundation, Maui Food Bank, and Aina
Okay.
Momona. So those are the four that I think I personally contributed to.
hmm
Mhm.
So just for everybody else, it's just whatever feels good and right. And if you have the chance to vet those organizations yourselves,
yeah,
please do so
exactly.
because it's a long
And
road. Like
can I,
Puerto Rico and the Hurricane Maria, it's like
right.
where we're going to have to see and support our 50th state, the most beautiful state,
Yeah.
to on its road to recovery.
I also need to mention another one that is really interesting. So
Oh,
there's
okay.
an organization called CORE, which is, Sean Penn's organization.
Oh,
And they
yeah,
Yes.
are
yeah,
all
Yes.
about, like, what do you call immediate response and helping communities in a way that a lot of other organizations don't.
Right.
So what they are focused on is helping the families who have
Yes.
taken in other families.
Yeah.
So
mm,
there are people who open their homes who
yeah,
don't have a lot themselves, or are limited as to what they're able to offer, but they still took in entire families or strangers or people or whoever, even friends or whatever. And so CORE is offering their services and trying to figure out what their needs are so that they can continue to help and not also be
um,
devastated.
and of course, because we're all animal lovers, the Maui Humane Society has been doing a
Thank
lot of
you.
work to help all the homeless animals and who have lost their loved ones and they can't be reunited and all that. So they've been flying some of those animals to the mainland to get adopted and all that. I mean, I'm like getting choked up about that. Can you? I mean, because I'm such an animal lover. But anyway, those kinds of efforts are also taking place. So a long road ahead. But yeah, so we're all doing our part. And look, I just went to Defining Courage, that Tamlin's part of, the David Ono
Thank you.
immersive
Oh,
documentary, which
Maggie.
was a fundraiser for Maui, and it was such a great turnout. It was sold out, and
Yes.
it's the second
Yes.
time I saw it, and I just fucking cried again, like
Oh my God. Thank you. Thank you.
yeah.
And I know Kelly, you tried your best to go, but then I think you had texted, I just got home at 3:30 in the morning. And it's like, you need rest. So Tia Carrera says hello. And she goes, oh my God, that girl's so crazy, but she probably loved it at Burning Man. But Daniel Ho
They
performed
performed.
alongside her, and Nick
Yeah,
Lee and Halal Hula, Ke'ali
it was
Ionawani.
beautiful.
It
It
was
was
it was great. It
yeah,
was it
and
was
it
a
was
full
Catherine, I'm
auditorium.
so
Yeah.
impressed by your Hawaiian ability to
Oh my
like pronounce
God,
these
no,
names. Oh my
no, 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 no,
God.
no.
I know she was so impressed. I mean, she was the MC, of course, and it was like she was spewing out Hawaiian lingo left and right, like she was a total local
Go,
girl.
sister.
I know.
And thank you for both of your support, and for because I can announce that we have 3 more shows. Defining Courage San Jose goes up on October 22nd for 2 shows at 3 o'clock and 6 p.m. We're coming back to Hawaii on Pearl Harbor Day, December 7th, because David Ono traditionally MCs the Pearl Harbor commemorative ceremonies on that morning. But we're going back to the Hawaii Theater. This will be our 4th show because we sold out the shows earlier this spring. But more importantly, we have a show at the Eisenhower Theater at the Kennedy Center
That's
in
so
Washington,
amazing.
D.C. on Veterans Day. All tickets, all information will be going up on definingcourageshow.com. So that information, that's a whole lot of information, but it's a story about the American soldiers of Japanese descent who fought in World War II that became the greatest military fighting units of their size.
Well, anyway, thank you, Tamlin, for your continued work with that. And
Thank
again,
you.
David's work on that is so incredible.
Thank
Stunning,
you.
stunning. Okay, well, all right. So we're going to get to the interview that we did a little while ago with the founder of Mieux, who is, of course, our first sponsor of the show, Janel Luu. And we wanted to feature her, not because she's a sponsor, really. It's really because she is a powerhouse Asian female, entrepreneur who just like dug her heels in and said, fuck it, I'm going to do it this way and I'm going to do it my way. I'm going to build this company from the ground up. So we wanted to talk to her about, what it takes to be a successful Asian female entrepreneur in a very competitive industry, because it's about skincare. And we know that there's just a shit ton of products out there that make various claims. But she really is somebody who dedicates her work and her, her knowledge to making things that are real, that have real benefits, science backed, all of that. So, but she was a fun interview. She's a feisty one, isn't she? She's Korean American, of course. So she's really feisty. So, let me share you this one thing. Okay. So we also wanted to feature her because she's a woman in her 60s. So again, on brand with all of us.
29.
And she has the energy of like a 16-year-old.
Yes.
Last night I had the most horrific dream. I love my silver hair now. Like I literally would never go back. Right. I'm just so happy with it. I had a dream. I went to a salon and they dyed it without telling me jet black, like shoe polish black. I woke up like crying from my dream. I was like, and I was like, oh my God, it was just a dream. Isn't that crazy? I'm like so now like attached to my silver locks.
Attached to it. I love it.
I know. I know.
But too. I know that I might have to diet for a role or something at some point, and I'll be very upset about having to do that. My mom is 85 years old and she's still dyeing her hair black.
I mean, I know.
Like, Mom, give it up. She's like,
really? Oh,
I'm like, you're 85.
I know.
Yeah, well, she's the same age as my mom. But again, I think what they fear is they already know the awkward period is going to last. They think it's going to last much longer than it actually is. And but my mom, you could spot her in a crowd. She's the silver hair. No, not white. Not silver, white hair. And it helps that she's 4'10", so you could look across the sea at people. But yeah, she loves being white hair.
Yeah, my mom too. She decided to stop coloring several years ago, and she kind of has my sort of streaky. It's not all silver, and it's all. She looks amazing. She has this cute little pixie cut, adorable. Looks great.
Yeah.
So, anyway, I only bring this up because again, this is a show about celebrating, aging and being vibrant and, full of vitality. And Janel Luu is definitely a representation of that. So let's take a listen to this interview and then we'll rejoin on the backside. Janel, welcome to Shoes Off Inside. Finally, you're on the show. Yay! Yes, our very first sponsor, Janel, was so gracious in, believing in us, believing in the show before we really even got it going. We were kind of experimenting, but you were like, you know what? I want in. So thank you so much, Janel, first and foremost.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
I was so inspired by your vision. When you were telling me about going to get some powerful women and especially Asian, Pacific, I just thought, what a privilege. And I get to join you today.
Well, because, our thought was we would love to be able to have sponsors who are API women, particularly, brands that we care about and make sense. And for you, Janel, you're a woman who started this business back in 2004, right? And kind of built it and still you're still continuing to build it. So, let's start talking about that. What has that journey been like? Because I remember reading an article about you. You had sold a ring to get your business. Tell us that story.
Oh, yeah. Well, I started the company with $7,000, right? With an extreme rebellious nature that I have, being Korean, that's like really going against. I was like the salmon, swimming.
Oh yeah.
Even my best friend said that's impossible. everyone said that's impossible in the most competitive space in the world, being beauty. So I just decided, hey, I can just experiment. I'm going to create some formulas and I'm going to see if women really can tell a difference. Back then it was just women. Right now we just launched the men's line.
Yeah.
But, so it was my passion, my rebellious nature, and I'm really a disruptor. And I know this word is used a lot right now, but I own that word because, I started that back.
OG, man. OG. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. The OG.
Yeah. So
what made you want to get into this space?
Yeah.
Well, I come from the background in the product development in skincare, and I just got fed up with the industry really relying on placebo effects rather than the formula itself. So as a consumer, how do you know, what's on the label, how much of that ingredient is in there? If you tasted it, like if it's food, I love food. So you can tell right away if there's truffle, do I taste truffle, for example? But skincare, you really don't know. So we really pump up the marketing. In fact, a lot of companies spend anywhere between 40+% of their yearly revenue on marketing to brainwash. And, we know that placebo effect is absolutely effective for skincare lines. So I just said, I'm going to make something. I'm going to be so rebellious and put everything at maximum level. I don't care how much it costs. I still get yelled at by my, costing people. But I said, I just invested close to $500,000 on just 3 peptides. Nobody, you have to be crazy to do that.
Wow.
So we developed our own molecule. I have these really extremely respectable scientists. One gentleman created a cancer drug he's testing right now. So they're not really skincare people. I don't bring, respectfully, just people from the industry, but I go outside. So his specialty, he's a professor, and he teaches the PhD students about how do you take molecules and let it deliver into the systematic, biological system that we have. So I thought, oh my God, what if I can convince him, get him drunk a lot? No, I'm just kidding.
Korean style.
Yeah, Korean style.
And convince them that, look, there is a whole population that's being kind of, led in a placebo effect.
Taken advantage of.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or a trend effect as well, too, because if you get this product, you're in. So, yeah.
So rebellious, like stop being convinced by one molecule. It's the stacking of what's in there. What's the base, What is the efficacy that we can deliver? Because literally in the skincare industry, there's a thing called label claim, LC. You can just take a drop in a 1,000-gallon tank and still label it in the skincare, formulation. So I just felt like we were the very first company, one of the very first, I believe, I've not done a global search, on launching growth factor when nobody even knew what that was. And
what is it? Wait, Janelle, what is it? What's growth factor?
What's growth factor?
It's basically a signaling protein. So, I don't want to age. I'm 63 years old. I'm going to be 64 soon. And I fight.
Wow.
Yeah. Woo.
And really, I think there are a couple of things we have to do. We have to first reprogram our skin cells, not just the skin, but the cells itself. Everybody says, how? What is the maximum effect you can get, right? And reset what we do. Everyone should use products 4 times. You need to change around throughout the season because just like the nature changes seasonally, our skin changes too. We cannot use the same product continuously without impacting the cells. Imagine eating kale every single day, morning, evening. Yeah, it's good for you, but you need other, proteins, other nutrients. And that's where, I started stacking the ingredients and I started saying, okay, what's the maximum of the protein that we need? There's so much, it's really the more you journey through the skincare, rather than just, hello, I do have these like sexy ingredients I'm working on. Like this one is ready. This is like dragon blood. It's just an extract, but it's cool, right?
Yeah.
But I know dragon blood is really cool for marketing, but what needs to be in there has to be something that really works for the skin. Does that make sense? So
Absolutely.
that's I'm here to like kind of expose the industry in a very cautious way because it is a scary monster, you know. But
I bet.
I'm fighting for. So when I started with $7,000, everyone said, "Well, you know, it's impossible. It's a marketing world." I said, "I know," but I do believe there are some women that really wants to see changes in their skin.
We all do.
Yes.
So we grow, you know, we're only people come in here, they're like, how does this company grow? And I said, the star of this brand is the product. It's what's in here.
Right.
You know, it's not the fanciest packaging. We are upgrading some of the packaging because, you know, I got to stop being so rebellious and kind of follow this. So, these crazy ideas, like, you know, like this crazy thing, like the Iowa.
Yes, look, I have
May
mine.
loves that.
I have mine.
Yeah.
I love mine. I love it.
I know it looks like a little piece of, you know, silver thing, but I made sure the pressure of the air matches and really pierces through the skin.
Yeah.
And that's what creates the plumping. And you have to customize. Again, think like food. You know, if you think of skin as the biological cells, right? You do not, let's say like your stomach. This is what I get really pissed off with the industry.
Here she goes. Here she goes.
If you acid, imagine like, you know, let's say I take you out for dinner or breakfast every day and entertain you, and all you're eating is acidic food. What happens to your stomach lining?
Yeah.
If you're resistant, you might be okay, but most people it really doesn't agree with the biological cells that makes the stomach lining. So why do we think we can put inflammatory ingredients? Because do you know why we do that? Because 2 feet away, your skin gets plump, right? Edema. It swells up the cells and you go, oh my God, my wrinkles are disappearing.
Yeah.
It's not, man. It's sorry, I didn't mean to say man.
No.
That's my rebellious nature. You know, it's really a matter of how do you send signals, like using growth factors, you know, to the target cells so it really starts to respond. I know it sounds like everybody else says it. So what do you do? So I used to have people do half tests, half Mieux, half the brand. You know, I have you know, Asians, we love brands, you know, bags. I do too. But I say wear those. But when it comes to the living, breathing, you know, dying cells, not looking at brands.
Well, because, you know, Janelle, I mean, we all know this, right? Our skin is our biggest organ, right? So the fact that we tend to sort of not take care of it as well as we should, or we buy into some of these false marketing techniques, right? Whatever is anti-aging and things like that. So there's a lot of that out there. So for you, though, the biggest challenge then, I'm sure, has been that you wanted to stay committed to something real and scientifically backed. But then being in this industry as an API woman, right? And starting later in life, it's not like you started in your 20s, you know, so you started later in life. So you had a couple of hurdles to get over and probably still have to deal with. So, I mean, what can you share with us in terms of what were some of your biggest challenges and then your biggest wins?
Well, the biggest challenge is the past haunts my future. So it's hard for me to think big. And I think Asian women, we are all guilty of this. You know, we're taught to stay in the lane. You know, I was brainwashed, like the best success you can have is find the right husband, you know. My goal. So I decided not to get married until I was 36. My mom gave me a diamond ring at 33. She said, you will never get married, you know. And married a cardiologist, a doctor, pretty smart one. So what I'm saying is being trapped in our own past, what we're told. You know, it's hard for me to think big. I have a billionaire friend who suggested maybe he wants to partner up. He was interested in my company. But then I thought, like, you know, one thing he said was, I want you to grow at 10x. And my brain just said, huh? Like, what does look like, you know? So being able to allow ourselves, give us a permission to say, yes, it is possible, but my brain still is not, you know, it's like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
You know, so I'm
Yes.
shooting for like 50% growth, and I get really excited when I do 50, you know, I'm like, but 10x. So thinking small is number one challenge. Number two is I am a mother, so I tend to become the mother of the organization, you know, wanting to be accepted, wanting to be, you know, whatever. So I think, and we have to balance, what does it mean to be a strong leader, right? And yet have a human side to us where it's not all about acquisition and seeing our team members. I really absolutely, you know, one of my biggest problems, I love my staff so much. And I take so much interest in their lives. And sometimes that bites me back, right?
But that's such, don't you think that's kind of a female thing? You know, men can be so ruthless in business and they're admired for that. And women, if they act the same way, they're bitches and difficult.
Right. With a big B.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
especially being an Asian woman, forget that.
Because you're not subscribing. You're not catering. You're not catering to the male. So that's the idea.
You know what COVID did to me? I started cussing.
Oh, that's good.
Really?
So we cuss a lot on this show. So feel free. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
It's my favorite form of communication.
My mom's like, I'm like, Mom, did you just say that? I would say like initials. What the F? You know, that was my face. And then like, I still have a hard time, right? What the?
Oh no, you got to get over that. No, Janelle, you got to get over that. Yeah.
Okay.
Saying fuck is it's very expressive and very refreshing. And it's a sign of intelligence. I read that, an article where they did research.
This is true.
Right? Did you read that same article, Tam?
Yeah, I read the same. Yep.
It's a sign of intelligence. So swear as much as you want.
What the fuck, you know?
Yeah. Exactly. Good.
I'm so brainwashed, you know, like how come women don't do that? So I'm just like, I need to get over that hurdle, and I got you 3 partners.
Exactly. But I mean, I think, you know, all of us wonder if whether you want to go into business or not. But I think going into business and becoming an entrepreneur, it's a risk. You can't be risk adverse, right?
Yes.
And I think so many, like you're saying, we've been programmed to a certain extent to stay in our lane or stay within a box. So even people like us who seem like we would take risks, I find myself putting parameters around my my potential, because I have that, I'm a bit risk adverse to a certain extent, right? And that's a hard one.
It's a tough one, but at the same time, you know what helps me throughout the day is it's all an experiment. If you look at it as an experiment and not as a destination or a measurement, I think that will allow us to carry forward, and we can always transform. I mean, this sounds so cliche, but I always tell people, if you can change 1% every day, in 100 days, you change 100%.
Right.
Whatever that little bit is. So you do that 3 times, you've already changed 300% by the time you get to the end of the year, and you have 65 days to hang out and do whatever you want, eat ice cream. You know? So in that, you know, and it's not like, and we have this, you know, like men have envy with, you know, down there a lot. Envy with, what bag are you carrying? Or, you know, what you do? And, you know, what car did your husband or you bought? You know, for example, I mean, but we have these envy, even for business entrepreneurs. A lot of people go, oh, you know, whatever they tell me. And I tell them that I am so authentic because I truly care, one person at a time. And I mean that, like literally one person. If they can find something better to make them look, I know, and not everybody should look younger, but my God, we look at each other like, we look at ourselves twice a day. Who's the last person you meet? My face. Who's the first person? You know, I mean, you don't look at your husband at this age, you know. Just kidding. So I think it's very important, because we do, and I really look at like guys or women have a lot of acne. I work with really worldwide famous actress or model also. And she told me she was voted as the sexiest woman in the world from, Sports Illustrated magazine. I've never seen a body look like that in my entire life, honestly. I just kept saying, is that real? But then she was having acne problem and she couldn't go out of the house. She was not being hired. So skin is your best bag.
Mm-hmm.
Or made bag at home and take care of your skin, That's my tip. So I'm sorry, I go off.
Oh, no.
I think also your skin shows how healthy you are. It also, I feel like you can see a person's insides from their skin, right?
Oh.
Whether they're taking care of themselves, whether they're happy with themselves. I mean, all of that reflects in your skin, right?
Yeah, thank you. I need to do that though. My husband said, if you only exercise as much as you do, I would look like that Sports Illustrated model.
Well, Janelle,
but we have to get out of that as well, because again, a common theme that I hear Janelle talk about is the brainwashing, as women, as AAPI women, about, thinking small, about fitting into a box, about not, making waves and everything. And that, of course, that happens in the beauty industry because your product is the star. You said that earlier on. It's not the image. It's not like in old school, the Estee Lauder campaign models, or it's not, it happens to be a free for all now because of all the TikTok influencers and social media influencers, how you look, on camera. And you can manipulate this because we're on computer with the lights and everything. But again, that's what we're talking about. It's like the actual health of our skin, and talking about it at a scientific mode may seem boring to some people, but that's the actual, what I'm getting is the authenticity of what your desire is to really bring health to the skin. And what Kelly said as well is like really eating well, exercising, hydrating, and sunscreen, especially now that she's going to Burning Man too. It's about, the idea, the biggest organ in our skin, what May said, taking care of it, because it is the largest organ that we have.
Right.
But
it also is the immediate. People go for glass skin, honey skin,
porcelain skin.
Porcelain skin. It's the immediate, it's the first reaction. I think really close to looking at a person's eyes as to the barometer of their health.
And I love your look. I love that you came on camera with your lab coat, because it really and the lab in the background.
The secret lab. The secret lab.
It's like that's all blurred out, and we cannot tell what the secrets are that you're cooking up back there. But it really shows that you're not just about the marketing of making, like a pretty marketing. You're really about the science of it.
Correct.
Oh yeah.
Exactly.
I want you to say, oh my God, this thing really works. And that really gives me passion. And by the way, I call M Skin, which is my skin. Do not envy first. Do not envy magazine. Do not envy messages. Just look at what you have and make the best of it.
Yeah.
And if you're at age 30, you have to, there are two things you have to do. You have to use growth factors, because your skin's regeneration period changes throughout the year. So when you're like
our estrogen.
Yes.
The only thing that grows my belly, that's a problem. I guarantee you, everything that needs to stay up is going down.
Yes.
I'm sorry I interrupted, but growth factor starting at age 30? Wow. Okay.
Age 30, because if you're 40, do not feed your kids before you apply your growth factor. Stop the tuition, put the growth factor.
Oh my God.
60s, your husband, if he cannot afford your growth factor, you have to really reconsider.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
Growth factor is a signaling protein. And, the saddest thing is K-Beauty literally bastardized growth factor. Because, one thing about Koreans is, my God, I'm Korean. So we come from such a little tiny country, and then we divided that in half. It's so small that we have to fight all the time, and we compete not in the best way.
It's so true.
So I'm I'm a rebellious nature in US, but also for Koreans, because stop come up with some original ideas, you know.
Have you been
So
copied, Janelle? Has your product been copied in Korea?
oh my God, they try to copy my isocell 150 plus times. They can copy Hermes bag, they can copy Rolex watch, but they cannot copy my formula.
Yeah.
Kudos.
Good for you.
See, that secret lab is working. Yeah. Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Right.
So, because you know why? Because I have so much passion.
Yeah.
My lab partners, they just want to jump off a building because I'm such a perfectionist. They do. They're like, oh my God, there she goes again, you know. But I want it to be good enough for my mom. She's 90 years old. And I'm telling you, that woman has no wrinkles underneath her eyes. That's the area you can really prove if the product works.
Right.
Really?
It will blow you away.
Wow.
And, you know, she's kind of a...
Janelle, I talked about this in an earlier show, but I recently went out to dinner with friends that I hadn't seen in a really long time. And the guy looked at me, he's like, your skin looks amazing. I said, really? And my first reaction was like, oh, I'm not really doing anything. And then I immediately said, oh, whoa, wait. I started using Mieux.
Oh, yeah.
And, oh, wait, am I frozen now?
We lost your picture.
Frozen.
Hang on.
I lost your picture. Yeah.
Hang on.
Okay.
Is it coming back?
We could start over. Yeah. Because it's a good story.
It is.
She's told us before. Yeah. She's told us before.
Am I going to come back?
I hope so.
Wait, everyone is frozen. Yeah, exactly. So that means I'm frozen. Yes.
Yes.
Spectrum.
Okay. Hang on.
I can hear you though.
I know. So why is this not coming back? So it was at this point in the recording with Janel Luu where my system just completely decided to break down. And so I had to reconnect with the rest of the ladies. But what I didn't do was hit the record button for the video. That's why for the next 10 minutes of this interview, there's going to be no video, but the audio is there and I couldn't leave it out because it was such a great interview for the rest of the 10 minutes. So for all of you who are watching now on YouTube and video format, there's going to be no video of this interview, but hang in there because it's such great material. Just listen for the next 10 minutes. And then Tamlin, Kelly, and I will be back on the other side of the interview to finish the episode on camera. Okay. Okay. I'll start that again. Okay. Cause it is a good story. So, all right. So
it's a good story. It's a great story.
So I was recently out to dinner with some friends I hadn't seen in a pretty long time. And the guy turns to me and says, your skin looks amazing. And my first response was like, oh, I'm not really doing anything. I didn't do anything. And then I stopped and I said, wait. I'm using Mieux products. I started using this amazing skincare line. And he's like, well, it's working because your skin looks amazing. And his wife chimes in. She's like, and she's Korean. She's like, oh my God, your skin does look amazing. So, I mean, I think Mieux has made a difference because they were like, it's working. Whatever you're doing.
You can get a straight guy to notice your skin.
Yes.
That is huge.
Right?
And I think the first time that May told us the story, the guy said, your skin looks fucking amazing.
Yeah, he did. You're right. I left that part out. He did. And this is a straight, like you said, Kelly, straight guy. You know, what straight guy would say that unless it was something really like starkly different,
something like ethereal or something that he's never seen before, or something just so complimentary. That's amazing.
I shared with the whole table. I was like, you got to try Mieux because it's amazing product. And I told them about you, Janelle, and the fact that you're always in the lab creating new product and things like that. So there is the science. It's science backed. I mean, you can't really kind of argue that. So I mean, I love your vitamin C serum. I'm all out. I have to order more.
That's the best.
Yes. I love the Derma Relief. This I use every night. Yeah. I love look, I brought TGF, the booster, right? And then of course the IOI. These are just some of the products I use. There's more upstairs. I couldn't bring it all down, but
how many steps is there in Maylee's system?
I know. Because they're all good because your serums are amazing. So here's the thing: you just launched a men's line, And so
Mm-hmm.
that's interesting because men have
Oh,
already obviously started taking better care of their skin. So tell us what that entails and why this is different.
Well, because we have to look at them all our lives. So looking at my friends at our age, I'm like, what the heck? What is happening here? Because the women are looking better. Most of my friends use Mieux. I'm like, what happened to your husbands? And then some of them will take care. So then I thought, okay, I'm gonna have a masculine packaging. So it's you just twist and you pump, and then we brought in a sunscreen that it's no color. They really love that. I did 2-in-1. This one, like my husband even said, honey, I don't know what's in that, but when I shave with it, because a wash and a shave, so you can do 2-in-1. He said, my shave is so much closer, but more importantly, guys are just beginning to be introduced like eye cream. So it's a simple, I've got second phase coming out with you ready? Nobody knows yet, but volcanic ash scrub. That's going to be really cool. And we really use the volcanic ash, not just the coloring. And in terms of, that's why I'm working with like dragon blood ingredients. We're going to make a scrub out of that. It's kind of cool. That's for the younger people. It just sounds cool. Yeah.
Wow.
Marketing, but it has function.
I mean, honestly, Janelle, you're constantly coming out with new product all the time. You must be like, you're nonstop. Okay. So before we wrap this up, because I want to take it back to sort of the whole entrepreneurial, journey. What is your best piece of advice for a younger person, or even an older person who wants to start business? What would you say to them in terms of like, okay, this is the one piece of advice I'd give to you.
Okay, number one, do not do it for money. You have to do it because you want to make a difference. Your soul has to be in it to be successful. There's no success or failure if your soul is in it, because you have so much passion. It's only a matter of time. It'll catch up with you. And do not look at your neighbors thinking, oh, they're so much bigger, they're so much better. Just look at what you have, how much contribution you can make. Number 3 is discipline. Us Asians, we're taught to be disciplined, and you just wake up in the morning, you still chug it along, right? You all became who you are because the discipline of working. I know it was tough. I can't even imagine, doing casting calls. I just cannot even imagine. So if you go in there thinking, oh, look at all these competition, are they going to pick me? You'll never get there. Or you've risen up as a professor, as a journalist. So you're all from like celebrity circle. I'm from like, different world. So it's really believing in, number one, that you have that grit to be stubborn enough and rebellious enough to say, you know what, I am going to make a difference. You just don't know that yet. Even now, people are like, oh my God, I use, whatever. I had $600. So I made $1,000 serum because of that. I said, so then, they're like, oh, I use a product that's like $600. I said, here's $1,000 serum for you. For the ordinary people like us, I make a little vial like this, So I'm saying, like, it's really matter of believing. And I sound like it doesn't seem to help when you say believe in yourself, but it's having faith, and you got to dig really deep. And if you're going to be an entrepreneur and you're just focused on money, you will lose money. You will not make it. Even your podcast, you know why I wanted to be the first one up? Because you dare to say, you know what, we're the silent people. We don't make noise. I don't know what it is. It's like, go to your room and study. That's what we're brainwashed. Go back and work.
Yeah, it's the stereotype.
So as entrepreneurs, especially for our community, like, we are here to make an impact. And what is that going to be? So if we dig into that and network, make sure they listen to your podcast.
I know. Spread the word. Everyone subscribe. Give us a good rating. Yeah.
It's a matter of time, because you threw 3 beautiful people who could be doing everything else. You're successful in you're amazing. Everybody knows you. But why
And really, we do it for the same reason. We do it not because we think that we're going to make a lot of money off of this, podcast. We're doing it because we love getting the information out there. We love each other and talking about this and highlighting people that we think are really special. We're not in it for the money.
Exactly.
There's no money in this.
There's no money in this. But
you know what?
Yeah.
There will be a time when our children or our niece or, our nephews, their wives, whoever.
Yeah, that's true.
Will say like, you know what? They look like me. And I should not just stay in this little, I don't know, cubicle. Think like I could have, I should have, dare to really step out.
Yeah.
That's why,
Exactly.
I think.
Look, I mean,
I just love this.
I think, Janelle, like you, I think we all feel like if we can make a difference even in one person's life before we leave this earth, a positive one, then that's something. Right. And so we're here, and while we're still here, we all want to contribute. We do.
Yeah.
We want to do what we can. And all of us, I think, are doing that. And as older women, that's the other reason why we want to do this. It's like we wanted to show people, look, we may be older, but we ain't dead yet. And we got shit to share, and we're knowledgeable and wise and wiser. And so that's
and learn as well.
Exactly.
And fumble through everything with grace and fun and humility.
Exactly.
It's
So that's why we do it. Yeah.
Yeah. Start calling ourselves better women.
Well,
I like that.
Yeah.
I think
that.
The Mieux women, I don't know.
Yeah.
The wisdom. We went through all the stuff that our younger generation is going through.
Yeah.
But, we've arrived.
Yeah.
And now we can talk like this.
Exactly.
And make a contribution.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, Janelle, it has been so great connecting with you finally on this show. And we cannot thank you enough for being our first sponsor and believing in us in the way that you have.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
We couldn't have a better first sponsor. Seriously.
Nope.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So the universe stepped in for us, and we're so glad to have you. So thank you, Janelle.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh, like I said, Janelle is full of energy, and she's a fiery Korean American, fellow Korean American. We love her, though. We love her, and we're so thankful. But
it is the time for K beauty too, so she knows what she's talking about from both ends.
Yeah.
I love her science. I love her passion, but again, the concern for self-care and beauty fits into what we're so interested in promoting and supporting. So
Exactly. Yeah. So, and again, apologies for the technical glitch. Sometimes these things break down, and I'm no technical wizard, so I was struggling to figure out what the hell was going on during that interview, and so therefore we had to the last 10 minutes.
Not perfect.
We're not.
And you did not want to cut what we were talking about in community because
it was so good.
It was so good. That's why we chose to leave those last 10 minutes, even if it didn't have video. We wanted to include the audio because the conversation was so good. So sorry guys, but I'm sure you still enjoyed that interview. So Tamlin, I know we were talking a little bit in the break that you had a question for Kelly about more question about Burning Man, which I think is a good one.
Yes, because I think, with all due respect, I think May was experiencing tech shit during the last 10 minutes of Janel Luu's interview. But also, and we're here on a podcast, which is dependent on Wi-Fi and connectivity. But Kelly, you were there at Burning Man without Wi-Fi, without linking on to everybody else's Starlink. What was that feeling like? Did it even enter your brain, or when whatever your routine is during the day, don't you go to your phone to check messages or if there's anybody, and messaging out especially to your mom? What was that like for you?
I didn't even message my mom. It took me forever to get back to her. She was like, I was so scared. I was like, don't be scared.
And you felt like you were 7 years old in trouble again, I bet.
I have to take care of myself.
But still, she's your mom.
She's a victim of sensationalism. But it was so refreshing to be off grid and not be able to, have people get in contact with me for anything, and to have the excuse of Burning Man and just enjoy moment to moment. And I hardly took any photos.
Oh,
I did
really?
not even have my phone with me. The only thing I used my phone for was an alarm when I had to get up every once in a while. But mostly I just got up whenever I felt like it.
Yeah.
But it was so awesome to be in the moment, experiencing the moment right then, and not having to feel like, oh, I have to document this. I have to
Yeah.
post this. I didn't post at all. I didn't feel it was appropriate also with everything that's been going on.
We talked about this before. The problem with social media, especially, is that it's like this fake connectivity.
Yeah.
You're connecting to people because you see them, but you're not really connecting,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
it really
I think
is.
people, yeah.
Yeah, it's a
I think
distraction.
people, yeah, I think people, exactly, following your line is like it's connectivity. But then, when people think that, oh, I'm plugged into Kelly Hu's feed, or I'm plugged into so and so's feed, that means connection. That
Yeah.
means connectivity. That just means you're plugged in. It's like the energy is not circular.
Right.
It's just going one direction.
There were so many young people that were coming by our camp because we were still offering, like cookies, and it was iced tea, right? That's because our camp was called Down the Rabbit Hole. So it was Alice in Wonderland theme. And so we were doing like, tea and cookies, right? Iced
Oh,
tea usually. And I was doing oracle readings. I found these Alice in Wonderland oracle cards, and I started doing readings for everybody
oh,
that was coming by. I mean,
That's-
it was
that's cute.
beautiful. I made like 4 men cry
Oh,
because of their readings. Yeah. It was
wow.
Men are sensitive. They're sensitive human beings. And
Yeah.
sometimes we forget, and we treat them so roughly and as though they're so tough.
Yeah, I think this would be a great show topic to talk actually about men and emotions and sensitivities and feelings and that kind of thing.
Absolutely.
So
I want to say on top of on that, Ms. May,
yes,
because you had posted on your personal Insta about recognizing the day of death of your papa,
yes,
and that your love of your life, that your newly unfianced man, it was very touching because it's very personal to me that he helped clean and sweep your father's grave alongside your mama.
I know.
My Daniel does that with my mom. And it
Oh,
was without any provocation,
know.
without any ask for help. He just did it naturally.
that's what
So
happened.
again, it's like that's
Yeah.
you and I got treasures.
I
We got
know. I
treasures.
really
We got treasures.
when I saw him doing that without even like, anyone saying
and
anything, my
that-
mom bent over and started like weeding, and I started, and then he just got down, on
Yeah.
his knees and just started doing it, and I'm like, I have to document. I mean, speaking of documenting, I know, but I was like, this is so
But
beautiful. It was so
Yeah.
beautiful. Here's my
you
little
wa-
87-year-old mom crouched
Yeah.
down next, and then he is crouching down next to her, and they're like
Yeah.
weeding my father's grave. And I was
Yeah,
like,
it belongs on the feeds that we all follow.
Yeah.
Upworthy and Good News
Yes.
Movement. It's like this is just something that we all do because we're just treasuring the time together to do
Yeah.
a task
and
of
respect.
a beloved one.
It's about respect and honoring.
It's all of that.
Yeah, all of that. So it was so meaningful to me. And so, yes, it was 12 years ago. My father was killed on September 12th. I know. So September 11th, I lived through 9/11 in New York as a journalist. And then September 12th is the date of my father's death. So those two dates are not great for me. But I know that
is my father's
is it
anniversary.
really?
What?
So September is not a, yeah. So some big
tough-
things.
Tough for me too,
It's a tough month.
and my precious Mushu.
Also September?
Yeah,
Oh.
September 4th.
Oh,
Yeah.
geez. Yeah.
Oh.
But I mean, I know that my father is looking down, as I wrote in that post, that
yes,
he's very happy, of course, that I'm now a official professor. He always wanted me to be a professor for some reason,
course.
and
Yeah.
then to see that I've met a man who respects my family and me, and his in his honor. So that was very meaningful to me. Well, ladies, of course, it's always so fun to get together for the show, and it was too long, but we took a little bit of a break, but that's okay. We're back. We're back. And we're going to continue doing this show. Please follow us on Instagram and Facebook, and please subscribe to our channel on YouTube.
Yes,
And give us a
please.
great rating on Apple Podcasts and all the other podcast platforms that you use. All right. Okay. Well, thank you.
Thank
So good to see you.
you.
All right.
You guys again. Missed you guys.
I know. Miss you guys too. All right. See you soon. Bye.
Happy Estro.
Yeah.